Hi, I'm Rich Guida with House Products, and we're here to talk about how and when to treat with anti-gel. I'm here with.
Talbot, chemist here at House.
So let's talk a little bit about gelling. My understanding is it's something that happens that's unique to diesel fuel. In other words, gas doesn't gel, but diesel does. What is gelling exactly?
Gelling is when the natural waxes that are in diesel fuel and not in gas fuel, when they combine and start to solidify because it's getting cold outside. What that does is it glums together and it gums up everything that fuel touches.
So I know weather really has an impact on diesel fuel, specifically cold weather. What is a tipping point for temperature? In other words, when do you think you'll start to experience gelling in colder areas?
Well, it depends fuel to fuel. Broadly, though, fuel will start to cloud up. That's when the first bits of that wax coming together show somewhere around freezing. Some places it's a little bit warmer, some places it's a little bit colder, but it's not by much. So when the temperature starts hitting freezing, that's when you've got to be worried about gelling.
So if you're going to be consistently in cold weather, is there a reason to treat before that cold weather hits?
Absolutely. Because preventing the problem is far easier to solve than addressing the problem after it's happened. And by adding these anti-gel products to your fuel before it gets cold enough to gel them together, that's going to lower the temperature in which the gelling starts to happen, and your fuel is going to flow easier for longer.
So now that we know what gelling is, that's the symptom. What's the outcome for a gelled system?
So as the gelling starts, you're going to start encountering problems like slow starts, loss of power, and that's when that clouding starts to happen and it's starting to restrict the flow. Eventually, that flow restricts to where it doesn't move, and that truck, that's not working anymore.
So what is an anti-gel? Why do you need it? And when should you use it?
Those are great questions. Anti-gels are small packages that are added to fuel that get in the way of all of that wax forming. So the fuel stays liquid longer and at colder temperatures. How much is in there and how it affects the fuel really depends on the fuel. And when to use it? Well, anytime it starts getting cold, you're going to want to have that stuff in there before you need it. And so when it gets colder and other folks are starting to have those problems or their trucks aren't running and freezing over, yours is still able to keep going. So anytime it gets close to freezing, that's when you're going to want to add those packages in.
How much anti-gel should you use and how often should you use it?
Well, every package, every manufacturer has different recommendations. So you should always follow the recommendations on whatever you're using. Recommended dosages are going to vary because of, the size of independent trucks and their fuel tanks. So use the right amount for the fill up. It's really as easy as just pouring it in the tank before you fill up, but just keep it in your truck for whenever you need it.
So it's a pretty common misconception that fuel in the wintertime is already treated and you don't need to add an additive. Tell us a little bit about that misconception.
I love this one because I've tested fuels from all over the country, from summer blends and winter blends, and there aren't any two the same. And by and large, there's not a lot of winterizing anti-gel products in any of the fuels. So the only way to be sure is to add it yourself.
So we've covered a lot about anti-gel, and I think the larger message is be prepared. And that starts with an emergency kit in your truck. Add an anti-gel to that emergency kit as you prepare to face what winter is going to bring at you.